Does the Manusmriti actually promote child marriage? The neutral answer is that there's a lot more nuance here than a simple yes or no. So here's the context. The verse in question over here is 9.94, which states that a man 30 years old shall marry a charming maiden 12 years old, or one 24 years old, a damsel 8 years old. In the event of his duties suffering, he may do it sooner. Before you react, Medhatiti and other scholarly commentators have already clarified in their commentaries, which are by the way freely available on Wisdom Lib online if you want to read them, that this is an arthavada, a general rule of thumb, which mandates that the bride should be much younger than a groom, and not a qualification for marriage, because the verse isn't even on the chapter on marriage. It's in chapter 9, which discusses inheritance and family law. Also, if you had to take this literally and someone had to remarry at the age of 29, it would be logically absurd for them to wait 1 year to meet the exact requirement. Secondly, to end this argument once and for all, just look at Hinduism's overall view of a girl marrying. In Rig Veda's 10.85.40, it clearly states that a girl is guarded by various deities before she can be tied to a husband, starting with Soma in her childhood, Gandharva in her puberty, and then Agni Devata for 3 years after her first menstruation period cycle or menarche, which was historically 11 to 13 years when girls had it. And if you do the math to plus 3 years, that brings the acceptable marriage age somewhere between 14 to 16 years, which is very close to the legal 18 that we have today. In simple words, Rig Veda's marriage mantras presuppose that a girl has already matured by the time she can marry. In fact, as per the Griha Sutras, Hindu marriage is usually done to allow and enable another ritual called as Garbhadanam, which means basically making a baby or conceiving it to continue society and dharma. And in the olden days, after taking a celibacy vow for 3 nights, on the 4th night, the couple used to engage in this Garbhadanam, not for fun, but as a ritual. So if conception had to be successful, it would logically mean that both the girl and the boy had to be mature for it. Thirdly, the most important factor due to which the age of marriage started decreasing in India was due to foreign invasions and centuries of it, which started pushing parents to marry off their daughters early as a social shield security measure so that they could technically be under the protection of their new family, because foreign invaders used to loot, abuse and imprison our women in the thousands. Simply put, child marriage arose as an unfortunate social custom in India as a historical adaptation and a protective reactionary measure than a scriptural mandate because of Manusmriti. In fact, even the statistics are not on the side of the critics, because before the 1800s and 1600s, this was virtually uncommon, and the numbers start spiking in 1921 to 29 when the British starts interfering with their census. And no, this isn't a conspiracy. The Kanchi Karnakoti Pitham's 68th Shankaracharya has himself confirmed the theory. Not to mention, as Vedic practices became more complex, our society became more patriarchal and women's role shifted to becoming householders. So they were excluded from Vedic study, which was not true in the Vedic times, and this dropped their age to 8 as an alternative to the Upanayana ceremony that used to happen for boys at the same age. So Vivaha was seen as that alternative. Today, we have laws in the country that make such practices illegal and obsolete. So unless anybody wants to go to jail, nobody is endorsing child marriage. Are Manusmriti's verses completely in line with our evolved understanding today? Not at all. But would it endorse any kind of social evil? That's logically absurd because it draws from our Shruti. The verses capture historical events and not secret eternal rules. So read it and disregard what's not relevant. Simple as that. Keep following me as we walk through the other controversial verses, especially on Varna.